I had my Kol Nidre sermon for this year written and ready to go a couple of weeks back, but it's not the one I'm going to give. Because on Erev Rosh Hashanah, as I was driving back home, I heard a director of a documentary being interviewed on the radio. And as I listened, I knew that I would watch that documentary and I knew I would be throwing out my sermon and writing a new one. So here is the new one. And it starts with the documentary, which you can find on Netflix at the moment. It's called The Social Dilemma. The Social Dilemma opens by introducing a series of people who have worked for the internet platforms that we use every day, Google and Twitter and Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, and they include the co-inventor of the like button on Facebook. And these people come across as talented and personable, but they're also very, very worried. And the source of their worry, as they explain, is that the technology that we use every day has become persuasive. That is, our daily interactions with these platforms have had unintended consequences. Because every time we use one of these platforms, we are disclosing aspects of ourselves. Our likes, our dislikes, our favorite color, our favorite movies, our politics. And that then enables the creators of the platform to direct us towards both advertising and informational content. The advertising content is there for what it's always for. It's there to encourage us to buy more stuff. But the information is curated by algorithms, that's artificial intelligence, based on what we have previously liked or agreed with or appreciated. The idea is that that will make us click more, which will create more opportunities for more advertisers to sell us more stuff. And the unintended consequence here comes from the curating of the information. As the algorithms get to know us better, more and more of what conflicts with our worldview gets knocked out. The problem is that artificial intelligence doesn't have the capacity to recognize truth. So these algorithms are just busy feeding us what they think we're going to like and playing to our beliefs and our worldviews and our preconceptions. It's not a conspiracy. The makers of these technologies are very clear that all of this is just the flip side of the many positive benefits of those platforms, the sharing and the eroding of physical distance and the creating of virtual worldwide community. Nobody ever anticipated that the result would be to place the human race under, as one of them puts it, an assault by disinformation. And nobody planned that we would be at risk of losing control over who we are and what we really believe. The Jewish tradition doesn't feel quite the same way about truth as the algorithms do. For all that we believe that everything has the potential to change, including ourselves, for all that this is a season in which we turn towards the possibility of change, there are some aspects of reality our tradition teaches that it's not for us to interfere with. As Reish Lakish puts it in the Talmud, the seal of the Holy Blessed One is truth. What is so unique about truth? In a midrash on the creation story, the claim is made that the Hebrew word emet, truth, is exceptionally stable. As you can see, the Hebrew letters aleph and taf each rest firmly on 2 feet, and the mem, here in the middle, has its base resting firmly on the line between them. By contrast, this is sheker, the word for lie. And the rabbis point out that sheker has only one leg, and therefore it's wobbly. The letters that make up the word emet are as far apart in the Hebrew alphabet as they can be. Aleph at the beginning, Taf at the end, Mem almost exactly in the middle. While the letters that make up Sheker, Shin, Kuf, Resh, are all very close together in the Hebrew alphabet. And from this, the teacher says that truth is hard to reach for, while falsehood is always close. So in our tradition, truth has this quality of being grounded and rooted and safe, but there's more. When Rambam, Maimonides, talks about the nature of the Holy One to open his master work, the Mishneh Torah, he describes God's quality, God's godness, God's essence, as being emet, amito, as if to say that there is something about the truth and something about the most absolute of absolutes that share the same quality. And we carry that idea of truth being a transcendent value into our liturgy and into our lives. After saying the Shema, the closest thing that we have to a creed, a declaration of our allegiance to the one who is beyond everything, we say, Adonai Elohechem Emet. On hearing of a death, that absolute reality that we cannot affect or change, we say, Baruch Dayan Emet. And we even have a day on the calendar that is dedicated to Emet, to truth. And that day is today. For a whole night and for the whole of tomorrow, we're going to do our best to strip away everything about ourselves that isn't true. We are going to confront and set aside our stale promises, our excuses, our pretensions, our false aspirations. We dress in our shrouds. We rehearse our deaths. We deliberately put ourselves into a place of radical hindsight so that we can see things in a perspective that is real and that is true. With nothing delicious or luxurious to distract us, with nothing of the everyday to intrude, we will work together as a community, real and virtual, to strip ourselves back to what is real and nourishing and wholesome. We will remind ourselves that deep questioning and examination is worth very much more than quick, facile answers, or any answers at all. We will look for the truth in ourselves and in each other, and in doing so, perhaps we will remind ourselves of what truth feels like. And we must do this not only for our personal growth. We must do it because I think we're going to need to be able to remember what searching for truth feels like when after Yom Kippur we turn back once again to our everyday lives. The participants in the documentary from the start of this sermon, The Social Dilemma, invite us to imagine a dystopian world where nobody believes anything that is actually true, a world where everyone is entitled to their own version of the facts. If everyone is entitled to their own set of facts, then there's no need for us to interact and no point on which we can agree. There is no community. There is no country. And false information, because it is less complicated, spreads faster and sticks for longer. And when it comes to critical information, for example, information about COVID-19, then it really can be a matter of life and death what the truth is. As Tristan Harris, one of the speakers, puts it very bluntly, I quote, "If we can't agree on what's true, we're toast." Close quote. And we are perilously close to living in such a world, and we might be living in it already. But Yom Kippur offers us the opportunity to step away from the persuasive and the assumed and the subjective. It gives us the chance to rediscover our truth muscles and perhaps even to flex them, like the letters of the word emet. We can place ourselves once again on firm ground. Let me close with a final image. It's a legend from the 16th century. At a time of great persecution of the Jewish community in Prague, the head of the community, Rabbi Yehuda Loewy ben Bezalel, created a hero to save them all, a being made out of clay, a golem. The golem was animated by carving the word emet, truth, on its forehead. And when the golem had completed its task, Rabbi Yehuda Loewy erased the aleph from the start of the word, leaving the Hebrew word mate, dead. And the golem lost its humanity and went back to being clay. Emet or met, truth or death, the absolute or the algorithm. Which is it going to be for us this year? Humanity created these technologies, and only humanity can repair them. But in the meantime, each of us can dedicate ourselves to doing our best to ensure that the aleph stays in place on the forehead of the golem. To do so, we must remember that the truth is the seal of the Holy One. And as such, it is our sacred task to strive for it. Gemar Chatima Tova.